Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel today. This is Paul from Kentucky Tacklebox. Today I want to profile two spinning rods that I own, and they're very similar in specs and dimensions, and they're from two different manufacturers, and I want to talk about the differences between them and about them. But first off, I'll start with what the rods are. The one on top here, this one here, this was made by Abu Garcia. It's called the Vendetta rod, and it's this one happens to be a 6'9" rod, and it has a medium light power and a fast action, and it can handle lures that are from 1/8 of an ounce to 1/2 of an ounce. And this rod retails new for approximately $100. The other rod is made by St. Croix, and it's called the Black Bass rod. And this one is a 6'10", so it's about an inch longer. It retails at $150, and this one is a medium light power also, but it's an extra fast action instead of a fast like the other rod. And it can handle lure weights from 1/16 of an ounce to 3/8 of an ounce. So the rods are pretty similar in spec. The couple of things that are different between them is, aside from the fact that the St. Croix rod is an inch longer, is the shaft of the rods themselves. The rod blank here down at this end is quite a little bit thicker. It's kind of hard to see it on the camera, but it is a bit thicker. If I try to hold one over the other, you can kind of see the bottom one peeking out a little bit from underneath here, and that's because it is a little thinner to start. And then as you go up the shaft on the rods, the one here, which is the Abu Garcia rod, stays fairly thick until you get to probably about the last four ferrules. Whereas the St. Croix rod, you have about 5 ferrules of really thin rod tip. And what that does for you on the St. Croix rod is that it gives the rod a little more flex when a fish strikes your lure, and allows you a better feel for what's going on and a better hookup. And the other thing too is that the guide materials are a little different between the rods too. I'm not sure specifically what each guide is made of, but both of the guides work pretty well on either rod, so that's kind of negligible to me. But the thing is, the $50 difference in price between the rods gives you a different feel. And when it comes down to fishing, and a lot of people have limited budget when they're fishing, if you can afford only so much rod and reel, the best place I would recommend for spinning gear is to buy the best rod that you can. So for the $50 difference, you're getting a little bit better rod profile, and the extra fast action also helps as far as getting sensing the fish strikes a little faster to allow you to hook into more fish and kind of keep the fish pinned so you can land them. And that's what I would recommend if you're in the market for buying gear. Now, I don't know that this applies to bait casters, but as far as spinning gear, definitely if you have only a limited budget, it's probably better to buy the best rod you can and then just get whatever reel you can afford. And then later, if more money shows up or you can upgrade your reel, then I would recommend you do that as well. But the rods themselves both work really well. I've caught plenty of fish on both of these rods. I just happened to find that by upgrading the one to the other, it's definitely improved the feel and the fun of the fishing. So keep that in mind if you're looking for gear. You really can't go wrong with that. And these days, you don't have to spend an extravagant amount of money to get a good spinning rod. If you can afford something in the $150 price range, you're going to get a very good rod for that, and it'll handle most fishing situations for you. But when you look at the specs between them, really, the reason that the Abu Garcia is rated for heavier lures is because it is a thicker blank on the rod itself. And but what that does is it makes the rod not so much a medium light rod, but actually it starts to lean more towards the medium side of the rod. So as long as you know that going in and you're going to use the rod accordingly, the rod will still work fine for you. I mean, like I say, I've caught plenty of fish using this Abu Garcia rod, and it's a great rod. Really no complaints. And the same thing with the St. Croix Black Bass. It's a great rod as well. But there are comparisons, and it's worth noting that when you're looking at rods, you may want to just always take a look at the specs and compare them between two similarly sized rods from two different manufacturers, or even 3 or 4 if you're in the market going through a few, because you'll find it's rather eye-opening. And the other thing, too, is if you look at the specs from 3 or 4 different rod manufacturers, you'll kind of get an idea in your mind what the average rod spec should fall. And if something is kind of an outlier where the specs don't match up to the other manufacturers, then you know there's something odd there. Usually what's happening is it's a much cheaper rod and it's poorly made. The quality won't be quite as good, and the fishing experience won't be as good either. So hope this information can help you out if you're thinking about buying a new spinning rod. And appreciate you guys watching the channel as always. So get outdoors when you can. It's a great place to be. We're into the heart of the fall fishing season here in Kentucky now, and some of the best fishing is on its way.